So hello everyone, thank you all for being here. And actually before I want to start talking is that I first want to ask you a question to you all. And that is, have you made recently a decision or a choice that you actually chose to do because somebody else told you to do this and not because you wanted to do this? Well, actually, you're doing this every single minute of the day, every single second. You're constantly making choices and decisions because other people are influencing yourself. Well, I'm here to start to make you think differently. So, my name is Eva, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm here to protect my generation from suffering. So, actually, it all started 6 years ago, where I was standing in actually one of the most scariest places of that time when I was younger. And it was scary because other people told me to be scared. And that was because, well, it was secondary school, and all these people said to me that I had to start instantly making new friends, adjust myself to this new school system, also do more homework and tests that I did before in primary school, and also make these new choices that influence my whole future, such as study choices. And so I was pretty nervous before I started actually secondary school. However, I experienced the first year pretty great, and I had a lot of fun making new friends, and actually I started to develop also my own kind of clothing style, or started to wear makeup for the first time. And yeah, looking back, it was pretty great. However, after the first year, I noticed that something hit me. And this thing that hit me was called puberty. And I think everyone is familiar with that term, and everyone's familiar with it by themselves, well, they experience it themselves, or because their child or children experience it now. And, well, actually puberty can be pretty hectic because people can suffer from, or actually suffer from being quite rebellious, and I was that myself as well, but not really towards my family or my friends or my surroundings, but I was more rebellious in a way to myself. So, with this, I mean that I was noticing to myself that I was pretty, actually being quite negative towards myself. For example, I had math, or we all had math in secondary school, or the Dutch language. And because I'm not really good at math, and a lot of people aren't good at math, and that's okay, of course, but back then I was a pretty good student actually, because I've learned a lot for my test, and I wasn't that kind of student who could read something and immediately get a sufficient grade, so I really had to work hard for it. And while doing math, I studied a lot of times, or a long time for every test, and sometimes or every time it felt like I failed because again I had a 4, or again I had a 5.4, so I felt like, oh, I'm failing again, and I'm trying so hard, so I'm being constantly negative towards myself. Being like, oh, Eva, you can't do math, or what other talents do you have? And after that, I started to question myself, also these bigger questions, which were more negative. And eventually I started to ask myself also questions that were unable to answer actually at that young age, which were, for example, who am I actually? Or what do I want to do after secondary school? Or what kind of choice do I want to make in my life? And up until just a few weeks ago or months ago, I always wondered why I was being so negative towards myself when I was actually being 13 or 12 years old, so too young. So I started to do some more research because I was really curious to know this, and I started to also read the book The Adolescent's Brain, Outside In, which really tells the reader what puberty is about, what happens during puberty, basically everything in a teenager's life. And while I was reading this book, I was really inspired because I literally saw the answer right in front of me that I wanted to know all those years ago. And actually I was being so negative during my teenager period because my body was actually producing more negative emotions than positive ones. So I wasn't the one actually being so negative, But actually puberty did that to me all those years ago. So I was pretty relieved, but that was just a few months ago. I wanted to know this actually earlier when I was that teenager, so I wouldn't have been like that negative to myself, but actually towards my body. So I was getting really enthusiastic and I wanted to know more. So what I did was that I set up a meeting with this teen coach. Her name is Tamara Verkesta, and she also works at this very education. And what she does is that she actually helps students at this very school and also teenagers in her history. And she helps them to actually develop their own personality, and also if they got stuck during the process, she helps them get back on track. So we had a pretty nice conversation, and she actually told me our experiences and I told her mine, and eventually we came to this kind of theory. And this theory, this is where it all gets interesting for everyone, because this theory is actually really applicable to not only teenagers, but also you and I, everyone in their daily lives. And this theory, it wasn't a theory up until now, and I call it actually the abdomen theory. And Tamara also doesn't know that this is a theory yet, actually. But yeah, I found it quite interesting and really inspiring. And what I also want to spread out, because this abdomen theory actually entails two parts of the body, which is first your head, or your face, where your expressions are made actually. And the other side is your abdomen. So your abdomen is actually your belly, but then deeper down, where your true thoughts are coming from, your true aspirations. And these, let's start off with this part. So the abdomen is where your pure thoughts are coming from. And these thoughts are based upon your personality, your norms and values, the way you were raised, and your genes. So actually everything or every thought you make in here, you think is wrong, or what you think is wrong in society, or literally anything in life, and what is right. And then you have the other part of your body, which is actually your head or your face, where all these thoughts are, where you actually express these thoughts that are coming from inside of you, where you share your true feelings or thoughts with actually all the external factors around you. And these external factors can be literally anything. So friends, conversation with friends, talking to your family, actually reading posters online, doing social media, especially these days. Literally anything that influences you and your thoughts. And let me give you an example how this can be influenced and what the difference is between your abdomen feeling or your head. So you all know bullying, right? And especially during your teenager years, bullying has been really actually a big phenomenon. And we all know that bullying is wrong. And we all know that because it's inside our abdomen. We know that it's wrong to bully someone, and it can make people lonely and sad, and nobody wants that. And so everybody knows that it's wrong. However, being a teenager, actually having to deal with status or popularity, inside our head, we get influenced by other people, telling us, okay, when the girl walks by, I don't really like her hair, let's laugh at her. And we all do this because we get influenced by everyone. But we all know that it's wrong. So actually, we should listen to our abdomen feelings, because this is where all our true feelings that actually is right or wrong, and we should share this. So because it is applicable to everyone, I wanted to share this, and after doing so much research about puberty, about myself, about my experiences, I thought, or I had to, for this project actually, I had to make some sort of message to get out into this world and help someone or a group of people. So I still wanted to focus on teenagers because, again, if I knew all this theory back when I was a teenager, I would have had such a different mindset. I would have been so much more positive towards myself, because even now, being here at this school, sometimes I still feel that kind of negativity that I had all those years ago. Still, sometimes I think, oh, maybe it is me that is doing this wrong, but actually my body is still changing because I'm still young. And that is actually why I think it is necessary to actually guide teenagers in this process. Actually make them aware of what is happening in our bodies. Make them aware of how we are still changing, and that it's actually okay that we are young. So that is one thing. And I also want to say to them, again with this theory, I also want to inspire them to listen to themselves. Again, with making different choices in secondary school, of study choices, for example, and really listen to their abdomen feeling. Really listen to what inspires them. Just as me, when I walked into the school, actually, it was the first school out of 7 or 6 that I visited when I was a teenager. It was the first school that I felt really connected to because it was, again, creative and a little bit also kind of serious. So it combined all my talents in one. And I'm still very proud that I'm here, actually, on this stage. And still people may say to me, oh, event management, that's like a study where we all party and stuff, or that isn't a serious education. But I know that it's right for me. And I know, being like a social innovator, I'm here to tell my story. So actually, what I also wanted to mention for you all right now is to actually think of a decision or a choice that you have to make up in these few weeks or months. And it can be an important decision, or it can be a simple decision that you have to make. But really think about if you actually do this for yourself, or that you do this for somebody else. Does it truly make you happy? Does it bring you further into developing your own life or yourself as an individual? And really think about that. And really think, does it bring me true happiness? Do I put myself first in this decision? And try to really think about this very deeply and start to believe in yourself and start to make these choices to actually develop yourself as an individual. Thank you.